worst era of Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon has been loved by all ages for decades. Since releasing the first 3 Nicktoons in the early 90s, Nickelodeon has become known as a predominantly cartoon channel. The 90s are revered as the golden age of cartoons. Then the 2000s being a noteworthy successor. It definitely started to falter as time went on.
I love Fanboy and Chum Chum so much.
The next era, being the 2010s, is arguably the worst era. And I am here to tell you why. But first, a little bit of backstory.
It sounds sad to make the video. He does. Fanboy
in the early 90s, they introduced Doug, Rugrats, and the Ren and Stimpy show.
These
3 would become the first Nicktoons. They proved to be very popular, thus Nickelodeon choosing a cartoon-oriented path. Rocko's Modern Life, Cat Dog, Angry Beavers, Our Real Monsters, Hey Arnold, and the Wild Thornberrys were soon to follow. All of these cartoons were very successful and still remain icons today. They were original and wacky, and had humor that hadn't been seen in cartoons before. These cartoons made up the 90s, and is now known as the Golden Era. The next era was the SpongeBob era.
Is it weird that his voice is like... It's like making me zone out, like... His voice is just... It's so quiet and like... It's putting me to sleep. Can I pet that doll? Can I pet that doll? I love that video. Okay, fuck, I can't. Okay, we're just gonna watch it.
SpongeBob was and still is their cash cow.
SpongeBob is one of the best.
So a lot of their focus went to SpongeBob. The entirety of the 2000s
made.
was plastered with the yellow square. Even with SpongeBob's success, there were a handful of cartoons that came out around this time that were still very good. The Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom, Invader Zim, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Avatar, and Chalk Zone. The first half of the 2000s was basically a sequel to the 90s. Original cartoons, unique concepts and adventures, and very enjoyable to watch. The second half of the 2000s is where the decline began, but had not fully hit rock bottom. The shows they were making didn't necessarily drop in quality, but a lack in promotion and opportunity led them to fail. These shows were for the most part overshadowed by their more successful cousins like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents. These shows were Tack and the Power of Juju, El Tigre, The Mighty Bee,
El Tigre, never watched it. Cat Scratch and Mighty Bee, fucking...
and Back at the Barnyard. Nickelodeon didn't really seem to give these shows a chance, and really only promoted the big shows that they knew would perform well. In the last year of the 2000s, a show would be released that I think truly begins the descent into the worst era. Fanboy and Chum Chum. I know this dead horse has been beaten so much into the worst year of the 2000s. A show would be released that I think truly begins the descent into the worst era.
Now I don't want to watch him anymore. He just called Fanboy and Chum Chum basically ass. Fuck. Like, you're a fucking loser, buddy. How about that? Let's put a little bit more energy in our voices when we make YouTube videos.
Fanboy and Chum Chum. I know this dead horse has been beaten so much it's just nothing.
Like, what the fuck?
It's trendy to hate on this show, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm simply bringing up the point that this show relied heavily on poop humor. I'm not criticizing it, but it does set in motion a domino effect of terrible humor. I am now going to give an overview of all the Nicktoons during this decade. 17 different Nicktoons premiered in this decade, compared to 11...
I mean, we're fucking kids. Like, we're little kids at this point, so, like, there's no reason for a show to go super in-depth and be, like, fucking... You know? Super crazy to where we have to keep up with it. If you're a little kid watching Fanboy and Chum Chum, that's exactly the area that, like, you fit in. Like, what the fuck? Thank you for that gift, Fonzo.
And 17 in the 2000s. For the sake of the argument, I'm going to only go over actual Nicktoons, not every single animated show that aired this decade. So, for shows like Rabbids Invasion, that most certainly helps my
Rabbids Invasion was definitely brain rot.
Argument will not be talked about, as it is not categorized as a Nicktoon.
But did I watch a few episodes? Absolutely.
The first new Nicktoon of the decade was Planet Sheen, a super unnecessary spin-off to Jimmy Neutron. This spin-off was not well liked.
Yo, Planet Sheen? I thought Planet Sheen was fire.
Side characters, the main characters, is usually a poor decision unless you're Saul Goodman. Sheen became overly annoying, the plots were too bizarre, in a bad way, and visually, the show wasn't the best thing Nick had to offer. Going back to the humor, It was definitely different. It wasn't like Jimmy Neutron.
Lonnie, you think every
it was
show's
reminiscent
fire?
of
No, I
Fanboy and
don't.
Chum Chum. The
There's
ratings
shows
gave
that I
validity
don't
to these
think
claims,
are
and
good
Nickelodeon
at
canceled
all.
the show after one season. The next Nicktoon was Tough Puppy.
Tough
Being
Puppy
that it was
is
created by
goated.
Butch Hartman, the same guy that did Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom,
Fire.
it couldn't have
Tough
been
Puppy.
all bad, right?
I feel like
Well,
Tough
it
Puppy's
wasn't,
underrated.
but you could definitely tell the shows
Not many
were
people
losing
know
soul.
about Tough Puppy.
I don't know how else to describe it than that.
How do
I get that I'm here to articulate my point with words, but this show feels like you took
2.9 out of
Fairly
10
Odd
is
Parents,
insane,
drained
literally.
the soul from it, and slapped on a spy theme.
Tommy
The next
said,
two
"Hear me out,
shows
the cat
are
in the
Winx
show."
Club
Hey, that's
and The
valid.
Legend of Korra. They do not fit into the category of
Winx
terrible.
Club?
They are the very few diamonds in the rough of this decade. Robot and Monster is the next show. And
Wait, hold on. What
there's
the fuck
our
did he
Winx
just-
Club and The Legend of Korra.
Okay, Winx Club, super fire. Legend of Korra, super fire. But like, I don't
do
know.
not fit into the category of terrible.
I don't know.
They are the
This
very
guy
few
is.
diamonds in the rough of this decade. Robot and Monster is the
He called Fanboy and Chum Chum ass, and like, is going down the hole and calling all these fucking shows ass, but they're good shows. Legend of Korra,
next
super
show.
fire.
And
Yeah,
it just brings more of the
I
same.
fuck with Legend of Korra
The show
heavy.
feels
I
very
love
empty,
it.
content-wise and
I loved
visually.
Winx, me
The
too.
humor this time isn't
Winx
so much
Club,
farting,
fucking
but
Totally
beating each other up
Spies.
and name-calling. There's nothing wrong with that
yeah.
humor, as
Robot
it's
and
probably the
Monster
most common
was
type of
eh.
humor.
It was
But to
mid.
have every joke based
This
on
nigga's
it
credibility
gets
is
boring
terrible, literally.
very fast. The 2012
If this is ass,
TMNT
what
is
the
an
fuck is the
all-around
next
fine
generation
show.
watching? Literally. The next generation is watching Apple and Onion and Pickle and Peanut.
It gets the job done. I don't have any strong opinions on it. Sanjay and Craig are guilty of being
So is he calling Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ass or what?
very fast. The 2012 TMNT is an all-around fine show. It gets the job done. I don't have any strong opinions on it. Sanjay and Craig are guilty of being one of
I
the
fuck
worst
with
on the
Sanjay and
network.
Craig.
I could make the argument that it is worse
I
than
like
Fanboy
it.
and Chum Chum. It's probably not, but it's very close. It relies only on fart humor. It's like you took the worst quality out
But what do you expect out of a kid's show? A kid's show is not supposed to have like a crazy ass plot and little shit for kids to keep up with. It's literally not supposed, like, niggas are not gonna pay attention to the fucking plot and all this extra bullshit. It's a kid's TV show. It's supposed to be like fucking poop humor.
out of all the popular
hell?
shows at the time and put it into one to make this show. It is
Nigga wants
just
a plot
another show
twisting
where
lore
a
every
human
episode?
and
Literally.
a non-human best
This
friend
is
duo
literally
go on really wacky
what kid
adventures.
shows are supposed to
Another
be.
thing this show has in common with all of the others that come
Nigga
after
want
it
this show to be
is
Attack
its
on Titan, literally.
hyperactivity. Fanboy and Chum Chum had it along with Tough Puppy, but it is right in your face with this show. Surely, this show is as bad as it gets. Nickelodeon really said, let's take Sanjay and Craig and make it 100 times worse. This show is complete
Yeah,
brain.
this nigga's pissing me off. I kid you not, after this fucking video, I'm blocking this nigga, man. I'm fucking blocking him. I'm tired of his monotone, boring, sleepy ass voice. Put a little bit more emphasis on your videos, buddy. And let's like get better takes and opinions, cause your opinions are fucking ass. He spent this whole video explaining why kid shows shouldn't be fucking kid shows. They need crazy plot twists and there has to be, I don't know, super detailed stories and shit in these kid shows. It's a fucking kid show for kids. What? So
and rot humor.
the
If you
fuck?
can even call it humor.
Hi,
there
Isaac.
are no real stories for
So I
episodes.
promise, I'm
just
literally blocking
recycled
it.
junk you have seen before. Annoying characters. So much stuff to do with butts. It is absolutely unreal how this was created.
Niggas ain't never seen like Ed, Ed and Eddie, Cat, Dog, fuck. Any of those TV shows, even back in the 90s cartoons, had annoying ass characters. Like, what? He's pissing me off. Breadwinners is literally Lana and Ava if they ever linked. Straight
And then
headache.
continued to be created. Look
What?
on the bright side. Breadwinners is the worst this decade gets.
Cap.
Harvey Beaks was a breath of fresh air. And then Pig, Goat, Banana, and Cricket released, and you were right back into the mud.
So he called Breadwinners ass, but called Harvey Beaks good? Breadwinners is ass, but Harvey Beaks is good. What the fuck is a Harvey Beak? Who is Harvey Beak? Nobody knows who Harvey Beak is.
Hyperactive, over-exaggerated animation slop. The Loud House is next,
lost me,
and as it is still running to this day, it has proven to be a much better show than the others, even though I would argue the fart jokes and hyperactivity is definitely still present. Bunsen is a beast.
So this is just all completely based on his opinion. Like, none of these are actual facts. This nigga's just a fucking loser. I haven't watched the newer ones.
Proved that it was more of what this
like this
decade
show,
has
I don't know what
out.
the fuck this is.
Yet again, a buddy duo
Loud
where
House
one
pretty
is
cool. Loud House is
non-human,
pretty cool.
and they go on way too wacky of adventures. Welcome to Wayne. It seems better than most. I can't give any personal anecdote as I've never seen this one. Online, the most...
So this nigga's never seen it, but it's better than most. You never fucking seen it, you loser.
Most common criticism is that it is a Gravity Falls ripoff. 2 days after Welcome to Wayne aired, Fairly Odd Parents was cancelled. This now left SpongeBob and...
Wow.
Well, nothing else, really.
At
this point, no show besides SpongeBob had been airing for longer than a year or so, and their cash cow SpongeBob was getting worse and worse. Hang on. Let me talk about that in a second. Let's finish off this decade. There are 4 Nicktoons left of the decade. Only one of them still falls into the hyperactive poop humor category. The other 3 are reboots or spin-offs.
What the fuck? That's not the Ninja Turtles.
This is the exact...
What the fuck is that? And is that Henry Danger? I was never one of those people who could get into Henry Danger. I thought that shit was so corny and ass, bro.
Trend repeating itself.
As hell.
Let me explain. At the end of the 2000s,
Give me
Fanboy
some
and Chum Chum
fucking lab
introduced the
rats
poop
or
humor,
something.
and it continued all throughout the decade. Now these 3
Or
shows,
the
The Adventures of Kid
I'd
Danger,
watch
Rise
Thundermans
of the
over
Teenage
Henry
Mutant
Danger.
Ninja Turtles, and the Casa Grandes are all spin-offs and reboots. Now look at the 2020s so far. Almost 70% of the shows in the decade thus far are spin-offs,
No, the Henry
reboots,
Danger
and
memes are
licensed
funny
shows.
as fuck. I love them.
It seems as if at the end of the decade they introduce shows that are indicative of what is to come in the following decade. Okay, now the decline of
Bro, that
SpongeBob.
Ninja Turtles
It's
was
been
so
talked
fire.
about
The
endlessly.
animated
They
one
say
that
it
he
got
just
bad
showed?
after the first movie. Whatever. I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm here to say at this point
Lana finna
SpongeBob
get
was
pissed.
arguably
No,
just
I'm not.
bad. Look up the worst episodes of SpongeBob.
Wait, what did he
no,
just
I'll
say?
do it for Bob was movie. Whatever. I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm here to say at this point SpongeBob was arguably just bad. Look up the worst episodes of SpongeBob. No, I'll do it for you. The consensus is that a pal for Gary is the worst. SpongeBob gets a new pet, and it tries to eat Gary. They literally rewrite SpongeBob to be dumber than usual to make the story work. Another terrible episode is One Course Meal, the episode where Mr. Krabs tortures and abuses Plankton, which is pretty out of character for Mr. Krabs. What's my point with this? These episodes...
Yeah, this nigga's a fucking loser, bro. He's a fucking loser. I've never heard such an ass opinion in my... Like, such bad opinions, like... I don't even know what this nigga's favorite show is. He doesn't like the Brain Rot Kids TV shows, but then he also doesn't like the Go-To ones either. This nigga probably likes Oswald. Oswald and fucking... What's the other one? The Berenstein Bears are probably his favorite shows. Like, this nigga's such a fucking loser. I can understand if maybe he was like the newest seasons of SpongeBob are ass. Okay, cool. I can give you that. Because it's not the same. But he's a loser. I won't lie. This nigga's a fucking loser. Okay? His favorite show's probably Franklin.
Most of the worst episodes came out in this decade. So not only were their new shows bad, but their legacy shows were too.
Wow. So the show's bad because
another
they made
point
the
is the
character act different for one
oversaturation of
episode?
live-action shows. 29 live-action shows premiered in this decade, but that's not all.
Yeah.
There were other shows that didn't premiere in the 2010s.
If he calls it Thunderman's ass, I'm clicking off of this shit. This like his opinions are actually pissing me off, man.
Still airing new episodes, making the total 33.
What's good, Don Blue
That's
Boy?
a lot of shows. Some of them aren't that bad. I mean, they're sitcoms with children lead actors. They can't be that good either. But some of them are especially heinous.
So he just basically called Victorious and iCarly mid. And then, oh my god, this nigga didn't have a fucking childhood. He's gonna piss me off. Like, oh my god, like, is there not anything that you fucking like, you fucking loser?
I can't barely talk ill of all these
Holy
shows
shit.
because I have close to no knowledge about them.
Oh my god.
I only watched cartoons growing up, but all you need to do is look at the numbers. 33 shows running in a span of 10 years.
What
it has to get watered down. It has to. I know the animation studio is probably completely separate from the live-action studio.
Hot take, the first Fred movie wasn't that ass. I actually fuck with
But
Fred.
I really wish more effort would have been spent on the cartoon side rather than live-action. You can clearly tell where Nickelodeon...
Just go watch fucking anime, buddy. Go watch fucking anime. You want super crazy plot twists and main characters and all this shit happening? Go watch a fucking anime then, you loser. What? Do you have One Direction on your door? No, that's TXT. TXT's on my closet doors.
Focus went into this decade. And I believe this is a small contributing factor as to
the second and third movies were shit ass first movie.
Why did they cling to this type of humor? What made them think it was successful and funny?
Anime
I can't
is peak.
tell you that.
I'm not saying anime is not peak. I'm saying this nigga is making it seem like cartoons have to be the exact same thing as fucking anime. I'm an anime watcher. I like anime. It's cool. I fuck with it heavy. But like, it's not something I probably would have watched as a little jit. I want to watch fucking Brain Rot. That's what a kid's show is. It's for kids.
The only reason I can hypothesize, and it's a stretch, a long stretch, is for shock value. YouTube was becoming very successful and popular in the early 2010s, and by the mid-2010s was huge. The network saw this huge shift in viewership, where the kids, instead of watching cartoons, were watching their favorite YouTubers play video games, or vlogging, or what have you. I'm guessing maybe this was their attempt to catch people's eyes and be like, look at us, we have this crazy, wacky, over-exaggerated junk. Look, I know that's not a very good reason, but I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. I can't think of any other reason why any executive in their right mind would approve the poop humor. Not much has changed into the 2020s. The poop humor shows are definitely decreasing in quantity. However, they are just being replaced with reboots, spin-offs, and other licensed IPs. We're definitely in the reboot era right now. Everyone is doing it, and there aren't tons of unique new movies or shows. It only makes sense that Nickelodeon follows suit. Make sure you check out my other videos. I have quite a few about Nickelodeon and other cartoons.
Don't care.
If you could please subscribe. I'm literally so close to 1,000 subscribers.
Don't care, didn't ask, don't give a fuck. L video. Thumbs down. I don't want to see any more of your fucking videos ever again in my fucking life.